All right. Now we continue on with Active Directory series. So basically, in the fourth video, which we are in right now, we're gonna do privilege escalation on the domain controller, which is one of the latest um, phases during penetration test. So basically, here we are assuming that by now the prompt we are seeing here, by now we have gained access to a workstation on the Active Directory, which is not a domain controller, right? So this machine here is not domain controller. I have gained access to this workstation, which is not domain controller. Right now, we're going to see how we can escalate our privilege from regular workstation. In my case, it is Windows Server. It could be Windows 10 client, whatsoever. So not every Windows Server is domain controller, by the way. So we're going to escalate the privilege from regular workstation on the Active Directory to domain controller. Now, this step comes after many steps you do before arriving to the conclusion of doing privilege escalation. So basically, you rely on the knowledge that you have gained throughout the past phases of penetration test. As you remember, we have enumerated the groups, the users, the currently logged in users, and we have determined that the Active Directory, the domain controller is logged in with administrator. So basically here, the first step we need to do, guys, in the privilege escalation, one of the techniques called overpass the hash. Now, how we can do that? Now we are in Mimikatz, right, on the workstation. Now, the first step, as we all know, we do privilege debug. Okay, our privileges are okay. Sometimes you don't get this output, right? You get kind of error, which means that you are not authorized to run Mimikatz. So it is you and your luck. But in our case here, we are assuming that you have gained access to a workstation and you have the permissions to do that. Or the user on the workstation has the permissions to do that. So basically, the next step here, we need to dump all the passwords on this workstation. Now, let's do that. All right. So here we get all the sessions that were opened on this workstation. Among these sessions, we have the administrator, this one. So the administrator of the domain controller has logged in the past to this workstation, right? And because they logged in the past to this workstation, their credentials, the NTLM hash, where is it? This one. The NTLM hash, right? Let's mark it. Of the administrator has been cached in memory. And Mimikatz's job is to dump the credentials that are cached in memory. So here you go, you have the NTLM hash password, the NTLM hash of the administrator password. Now our next step, guys, is to do something called, what do they call it? The lateral movement, right? So now we need to do the lateral movement. Now we have the hash of the administrator password. Now all we have to do here, the essence of overpass the hash technique is to turn this hash, the highlighted hash, into a Kerberos ticket. If you don't know what is Kerberos, it's authentication protocol deployed in Windows workstations. So Kerberos relies on tickets to authenticate and grant permissions to users, right? So if you turn the NTLM hash into a Kerberos ticket, and we avoid the use of NTLM authentication, basically in newer versions of Windows operating systems, NTLM hash, it doesn't authenticate you with your NTLM hash, right? It authenticates you according to Kerberos authentication, but it uses the NTLM hash to encrypt your ticket granting ticket in Kerberos. So basically, we need to use the password here, but not for authentication. We need to use it to generate some kind of Kerberos ticket. Okay, now a simple way to do this, we need to use Mimikatz modules. Now let's go down, scroll down, and use this. First, we need to copy that. And Control C, we go down. Okay, in Mimikatz, guys, we're gonna use a separate module to convert, not to convert, to use the hash that we have just found into launching a PowerShell process on the domain controller. Sounds confusing, right? So basically, what's gonna happen, guys? Let me type the command first. Now the user is administrator, and the domain is Pentesting Active Directory.com. And then we put, actually I forgot something here, the domain. Then the NTLM hash, I hope it has been copied. Yeah. Now, run. We need to run PowerShell. Okay. Now, after running this, we're supposed to gain PowerShell process running on the domain controller. Why? So as you can see here, the command requires a few arguments, and this command creates a new PowerShell process in the context of the administrator user. This new PowerShell prompt will allow us to obtain Kerberos tickets, okay, without performing the NTLM authentication with the NTLM hash we have, right? So we have gained the NTLM hash. Wait. I think it's prompt. Okay, here. We need to get this a little bit back. Okay. So this NTLM hash, okay, I have gained, and along with the module in Mimikatz will enable me to launch PowerShell process in the as the administrator in the context of the administrator account in the domain controller. This results in a PowerShell process launched on the domain controller, and this PowerShell prompt will be displayed here, right from the workstation. So I can interact with the domain controller right from the workstation. This is the privilege escalation I was talking about. Now, but before doing that, we need to do generate the tickets. Let's first launch this command and see if we are lucky. So it appears that we are lucky. So here, let's see the output. So the user administrator, the domain, the program is PowerShell, and the process has been launched with a PID of 112, and the process now is working. As you can see, new PowerShell prompt has opened, and it appears that we have gained PowerShell command prompt on the administrator system. So we have elevated our privilege, guys, but first, it is not done yet, as we have a new PowerShell session which allows us to execute commands as the administrator. Now, we need first to clear all the past Kerberos tickets, right? Let's issue k list. Let me first try to make this bigger. Okay. So right now we don't have any Kerberos ticket. No Kerberos tickets have been cached, but this is expected actually, since the administrator has not performed an interactive login, right? So we have created a process, PowerShell process in the administrator account, in the domain controller, but there are no Kerberos tickets. How can I interact fully with the system where my NTLM hash or the NTLM password hash of the administrator has not been converted yet to Kerberos ticket. What do I do here? In order to generate the Kerberos ticket, guys, we need to do something interactive with the system. So one way to do that is we use something called we can interact with shares, right? So there are many ways to generate Kerberos tickets, right? The Kerberos tickets are generated for authentication purposes. One of the ways is you request access to an application on the server, and a granting ticket is generated, is sent to the server, and the server sends you back ticket granting response to give you whether your request is denied or approved. During this process, a granting ticket is generated, which allows me to interact with the application. Now, I need this ticket. Why? Because I want to interact fully with the system. In order to do that, we can use net use, and then we need to type one like the domain controller name. Right. Let me paste. Okay. Now we put Pentesting active directory. Okay. Now I think we have generated one ticket. So let's see if we have tickets here, klist. All right. So now I have one ticket granting ticket here with the name administrator. So now I have all I need to carry on my privilege escalation. Now the next step, I want to convert this into a full command prompt or a full shell on the administrator account. One way to do that, guys, is we launch the process of psexec. No, wait. Let's copy these. Okay. Now type the domain controller domain name and see mdxc. Are you ready? No. It's not recognized as the name of a cmdlet. Yes, I expected this. Why? Because I forgot the absolute path of this. Okay. Are you ready for the privilege escalation? Again. So what's going on now? It seems that we need to download that, right? Actually, we need to get this one from sysinternals. So let's go to. I'm gonna need to go to my manual. My manual. Where is my manual? Okay, my manual is this one. Let's download the sysinternal and let's go back. Let's go to, or let's not do it from here. I think I need to do that from. Okay, let's download the tool. Yeah. I'm just gonna grab the URL and download that right from the workstation, right? So we're doing this in a real environment. psexec. Copy the link and I go back to my workstation. Let me go back to my manual and see, I can't remember all the commands. I need to, okay, so we download one. Oh, this is different. I need to open the other one. Okay, this one. Okay, here the section for downloading from the command line. So let's adjust first the prerequisites. Next one, this is for downloading using the SSL protocol. Sometimes it doesn't work without typing this command. Okay. Now you're doing that, guys, assuming you have your own manual, you are doing your own pen test, and everything is already in front of you. We don't need to wrestle with time. No, what's happened? Okay. I think I forgot this. Yes, that's why it didn't work. Okay, now let's define the parameters. URL equal. Let's grab the URL, copy link. I forgot these, so let's copy these. Codes. Ah, zip file. Okay. Okay, next, the output. Now, we define the output could be in C. Come on. Let me write the output here, it's better. So let's remove these. Okay, C. Let me grab the backslash. It doesn't work on my computer. What's the problem with this backslash thing? Best thing to do is to take it from here. Okay. Users, and then we go to administrator desktop, and the file name should be tools. Now we take this, let me highlight it again. Okay. Next thing is put that time, and then we download. It should go straight to my desktop. To define a part of the path. Okay. Let's navigate to who do you have here? Administrator. Okay, now let's do that again. Could find a part of the path C users administrator desktop. Ah, okay, so it's binding this one with this one. Just typed. Okay, so one way to solve this, I think, let's go back, and the output here could be something like okay. Um, like this. Okay. So now let's list it. We have downloaded the tool into the administrator account, and we should see here, but where it has been downloaded. Oh, okay. No. I made a mistake. So the output here should be like this. Okay. So now I have just downloaded that to the administrator desktop. Now your last step, guys, you need to unzip this and launch the tool. But I forgot how to unzip the tools on Linux, on Windows. So let's unzip them with Google. Zip cmd Windows. Let's see if we have something built in to unzip this. Oh no, we don't want to work with batch files now. Can use the much shorter PowerShell equivalent. Ah, there is PowerShell for this. Okay, let's try this. But before trying this, let's try this directly. Okay, so the path to here should be C users administrator. Again, the fucking backslash. Administrator, desktop, PS tools. Okay, now where to? It should be in users administrator desktop. Yep, directory. So now we have unzipped all of the tools in the domain controller. Now we look for where's our hunt? This one. Okay, now it's time to say, or it's time to elevate our privilege. Yes, and we put the domain controller name. All right, cmd.exe. Show me. What's that? Okay. And congratulations, now we have converted our PowerShell process that we have launched from Mimikatz into full system access on the domain controller. IP config. Right, so let's verify that. Who am I? Pentesting administrator. So we have elevated our privilege, guys. And you can connect from starting from video one we did on Active Directory all the way, guys, till here. Enumeration, right? Finding your target, and then using Mimikatz modules, relying on the concept of NTLM hash and generating tickets with Kerberos, and then we arrived here. So it's like a series or a network of principles and topics you need to understand in order to do that. So basically, guys, privilege escalation on Active Directory there are many ways, right? But this is one of the ways, and this is one of the recommended ways actually, because when you gain access to orchestration, which is part of domain controller, all right, it's very easy to transfer some, files into that machine, and then you can have the full freedom, the full control into using Mimikatz and enumerating who are the currently logged in users, and then escalating to the machines where these logged in users were logged in actually. I know it sounds confusing, but basically one condition to this privilege escalation method to work is the administrator account of the domain controller. As we can see, if they didn't or if they hadn't logged in to if we didn't find that they have logged in to the workstation we have just compromised, this attack wouldn't have succeeded. Why? Because if they hadn't logged in to the workstation, their credentials wouldn't be cached, right? And we wouldn't be able to catch it with Mimikatz. That's the only condition for this attack to work. The administrator account or the administrator or the domain controller must have logged in the past to the workstation you have just compromised. That's why enumerating the currently logged in users in the workstation you have compromised and the active sessions is of vast importance, right? Because you can determine what is the account that you will hunt, right? Of course, in the next videos, we're going to discover more tactics and more techniques to elevate our privilege into Active Directory, and then we're going to find how to create some kind of persistence in order to to maintain our access, and if we need that access, right? Actually, persistence is not part of pentesting plan, it's not part of pentesting scope, but it may be required rarely, I think. Okay, I hope you found that helpful, guys, and we see you in the next videos.